Oh man, what did I tell y'all? Friday, I had a very special guest coming on the show, and you see who it is, Mr. T-Ball Paul himself, man. Mr. Paul.
Thanks for having me, Knuckles MMA.
Of course, man. Of course. You know, this guy's amazing. This guy's amazing. And I'm hopefully people start flooding in and everything. I shared this link a lot. But just starting out the show, I just want to say thank you. You know, of course, thank you to Mr. Paul. He's a great supporter. You can check him out on what is it, both TikTok and Instagram, at TeeBall Paul, correct?
Yes, TeeBall Paul, the TikTok's, doing its thing. The Instagram needs a little bit of love. So for anyone
Yep, yep.
listening, if you want to follow me there, that would probably be the best option. I'm trying to build that platform up.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And hopefully, when people start flooding in and everything, and they get accustomed to my friend Paul here, we can definitely shoot you up and start him and everything. Oh man, Mr. 95 North Falcons talk show. That is my dad right there. Let's go, buddy. Thank you, Dad. Thank you for
All right.
tuning in. Thank
All
you,
right.
Dad. Thank you for tuning in, man. This is crazy. This is surreal. Um,
So how does the
but yeah.
Falcons fandom run in the family? Can you explain that to me really quick? Because I asked you before we started chatting if
Mhm.
you were a Falcons fan, but you're from Rhode
Yep.
Island.
From Rhode
Explain, just
Island.
give me the rundown really quick.
All right. So quick little rundown. So my dad's always been a Falcons fan ever since he was younger. You know, he came from Puerto Rico, from Ponce specifically, and he's always loved the Falcons. And my grandfather's also from Macon, Georgia, and he's always loved the Falcons. And it's just been passed down. It's been passed down to me, my sister, my mom loves the Falcons as well, and it's Dirty Bird Nation over here, up here in Rhode Island. But
Nice.
it's a little weird. We are in Rhode Island, and I don't know if you know too much about Rhode Island, but we are a very big Patriot. Everybody's a
Yeah, I
Patriots
was gonna
fan, and it's
say
just my gosh, 28-3. My gosh.
that must have been a tough year living in Rhode Island around that time.
Oh yeah. I cried that Super Bowl, and I'm not afraid to say it. I cried that Super Bowl. It was 11 o'clock at night. I remember specifically, and I cried because we blew that lead. And I remember my dad specifically telling me, he was like, "Buddy, we're gonna get back in there. Don't even worry about it. You got this." so, so, man, oh man,
I
the
think I
Falcons,
remember
huh?
falling asleep during that Super Bowl. It might have
Yeah,
been the second quarter. I was like, "Oh my god, the Falcons are blowing the Patriots out." And then I woke
hmm
up for the half. I forget who the halftime show was, but I woke up for the halftime show. I'm like, "Okay, whatever. Let's watch the second half." And then all of a
hmm
sudden, sorry, we don't need to relive that. Let's switch the topic to
right, right.
MMA
But
now.
um, but yeah, man. Let's see who. Art of E. My sister's in here. I'm so proud of you, my brother Alex. I love you, Ilani. I love you too. Thank you for supporting the channel, and please like, please subscribe. You know the whole gist. I'll see you after this is all done, and I'll give you a big hug and kiss and everything. And you know the family's out to support. But
That's great.
let's.
It's a family affair. I love it.
Of course, my family's always here to support, and we always support our family around here. But let's get straight into this. First off, I was thinking, since we have 313 tomorrow, Paul, let's get into the meat and potatoes of what's going on tomorrow. Um, I usually start with the prelims, but I'm gonna start with the early prelims today. And
Sure.
what do you think about that first matchup here?
Okay. Jordan Santos, Ozzy Diaz. I'll be honest with you, man. The UFC roster is so large these days that even someone that watches every single event like myself, there's still some names that can slip through the cracks.
Yeah.
So I really can't recall an Ozzy Diaz. Who did Ozzy Diaz sounds familiar? Jordan Santos, I definitely cannot recall one of his fights off the top of the bill. So there's a reason why this one is the curtain jerker.
Yep. Yeah,
Any
I'm
prediction I
not
would
too
have on this fight, I would just be pulling something out of my ass. So
yeah, honestly, me as well. I really don't know. I don't know these dudes. Now the other two, like Chris
yeah,
Gutierrez, Myron Santos, like I know those dudes, but as far as like Diaz, I really don't know. What I heard, I've heard about Ozzy Diaz. I don't like it was just very vague. But I don't know. He's a name. I'll just say I'll give him. I'll give it to him. I don't know. Probably by decision. He
yeah,
looks like a decision
he's got a
merchant.
cool name.
Yeah,
Let's
Ozzy
go with
Diaz,
Ozzy
dude.
on that one.
Yeah, I'll go with Ozzy on that. Um, so Christopher Gutierrez, I'm not 100. Don't quote me on this, but I'm pretty sure they added him to this card. To the early prelims. Versus John Cas,
Castaneda. It was supposed to
yeah,
be Chris
Castaneda.
Gutierrez versus John Matsumoto,
Uh huh.
but John Matsumoto fought your fellow Puerto Rican Rob Font
Oh, right. Okay,
in
right.
Seattle,
Mm-hmm.
and that kind of threw a wrench in this fight we're looking at right here. So
Mm-hmm.
it's a pretty short notice contest,
Right.
but I'd have to go with Chris Gutierrez. He was
Yeah.
ranked before. He has the same last name as me,
Mhm.
and I really like his technical striking style.
Yeah, I do too. I like he's very rangy. He's a very rangy fighter.
Definitely.
And um man, I want to see him back in that top 15. I mean, was it a little bit like it kind of did suck to see him fall out of the top 15 because he was kind of like a I don't want to say a dark horse, but he was like an underdog. I don't at least for me, but he looked like an underdog in that top 15.
He
And
had a good run. He had a
he did.
moment there where it was looking like he could crack into the top 10, and
Mhm.
then I think Pedro Munoz beat him, and kind
Yep.
of a lot of the hype was lost. But
Yeah.
he can still get another crack at it.
Oh, 100%. 100%. Yeah, I hope he does get back into that top 15. But
Yeah,
let me see right here. Now this fight right here, this is a fight I'm looking at very carefully. Myron Santos and Francis Marshall. Myron Santos, the last time I seen him, I believe it was tough where he knocked out that dude with that oh my that beautiful hook. Oh, I've never seen such a strategic hook in my life, but that was a beautiful hook by him. Um and what I know about Francis Marshall, he's pretty good. I've heard he's a pretty good guy, and I think that there's a possibility he gives Myron Santos a run for his money. Because if I'm not mistaken, I heard Marshall's been working on his ground game, and I know Myron Santos hasn't really been put in there with such a good grappler like um Marshall. At actually, let me not say that because I don't really know too much about Marshall, so let me not call him like a really good um wrestler, but I think is it just me? I think maybe he could give Santos a little bit of a run for his money.
I think so too because Francis Marshall, I remember him as having a tough fight with William Gomez, and
Mhm.
William Gomez is like definitely a top 20, top 25 featherweight.
Oh yeah.
Probably
100%.
Gomez is a guy that could probably be in the top 15 if he got the right matchups, but
Oh yeah.
he just ran
Right.
into Hader Emil last week, and that
Mhm.
train was stopped momentarily. But for Myron Santos, yeah, the last time I saw him, he obliterated Con Offley. That was
Yep.
the tough finale, the season that Grosso and Shevchenko coached on.
Mhm.
So big step up in competition for Myron Santos,
Oh
but the
yeah.
way he speaks on the mic and the way he fights, lots of confidence. He really believes he's going to be the next Brazilian superstar in the
Yeah.
organization. So if he could give a good performance on the main event of the early prelims, then
Mhm.
maybe he'll get moved up
Yeah.
on another card soon after.
Yeah, 100%.
But I
I
have to go
think
with Myron on this one.
yeah, I think so too. Let me see. He's 24. Yeah, the kid's young. He has us. That's a good reach for the featherweight of the 72 inches. That's a good reach.
Yeah, yeah.
72-inch reach. But yeah, I see a lot for Myron Santos, especially in this featherweight division. You know, all these up and coming guys. Um, I think he's definitely top 15 material, but in the next 3 fights, depending on how he looks, I think they'll probably give him a test, and that's when we're really gonna see the nitty-gritty of the man we call, Myron Santos. But, moving on to this preliminary card, this, this barn burner, huh? Man, Alex Morono and
Yeah.
Carlos Leo. I don't even know what to say to that fight. That's such a, like that's this is the definition of a prelim fight.
Yeah, yeah. Alex Morono, he's usually in exciting fights.
Mhm.
I just kind of clown on him because if you look at him, like he doesn't really look like an athlete. He's kind of just like, very average dad bod appearance.
Yeah, he
And
has like a Nick Diaz build or something.
yeah. And the funny thing is, like, I was watching the media day the other day,
Mhm.
and he got a USADA jacket for 50 clean tests in a row. I'm like, I could
Huh.
have told you that. Just look at him. This guy's not taking anything. Like,
Yeah, he's not
of
taking
course he's gonna
anything.
get the USADA jacket.
Mhm.
But Carlos Leal, he gave Renat Fakhretdinov a really tough fight. I think it
Yes,
was
he
on the
did.
Abu Dhabi card last year, and he was coming from the PFL. I think a lot of people expected Renat to walk all over Carlos, but I thought Carlos won that fight. If you
I did too.
remember, yeah, yeah, you remember. At the end, it was like a
I
really
did.
controversial decision.
Yes, it
I
was.
think John Anik was like even said, "What the hell's going on?" or something to that effect.
Yeah, he did. I do remember that. Yeah, Anik was like, and I remember him making. I think it was a picture that was like going around, and it was showing Bruce Buffer's face when he was reading it, and he was just like, "What?" Even like when you have Buffer showing faces like that, man, you didn't win that fight.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
yeah,
But
man.
as far as my prediction, I don't know. Alex Morono, he's been in so many wars. I don't know if
Mhm.
he has any more left in him. So I'd have to go with Carlos Leal on this one. I think he's
Yeah,
going to ride
same.
the momentum from the last fight and get the job done.
Yeah, I think so too. Honestly, what and what was it? Who did Alonzo Menifield fight last? He fought Juice Box. I forgot the guy's name.
Oh, the D2 basketball player,
Yeah, yeah.
Walker,
Yeah. I think
Jordan
it was
Walker,
Walking Buck
Jordan
Walk.
Walker or something.
So, yeah, something of that. But Walker and if you see that was such a sloppy fight.
Oh
This
yeah,
fight right here, I could see this fight being sloppy. I got
yeah,
I could
yeah.
really see this ending in like either a sloppy finish or this going to like a split decision and then both being gassed. You
Just like
know?
you said, it's the definition of a prelim fight.
Yeah, 100%. And no one can say otherwise. This is legitimately a
Yeah, yeah.
prelim fight.
It is what it
Um,
is.
it is exactly. It is what it is. This fight right here. And I know I've already said, "Oh, I'm looking at this fight," but this is another fight I'm looking at. Bruno Ferreira, the Hulk, versus Armin Petrosyan. Armin Petrosyan, I know, is coming off. I believe his last fight was against Shara Bullet, right?
Yeah.
And it was the double back fist and all that good stuff. And Bruno Ferreira's last fight was Stoltzfus? Uh,
I'm not sure what Bruno Ferreira's last fight was. There's two Bruno Ferreira fights that stick in my memory. One was when he iced RoboCop,
Yep,
and
yep.
then the other
The
one was
straight.
when he got iced by Nusartan Ruziboev.
Yep. I.
So
Oh yeah.
I think what both of
Yep.
these guys bring to the table, they're either gonna finish you
Hmm.
spectacularly or get finished spectacularly.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
100%.
both guys are gonna swing for the fences, and someone's getting knocked out probably early.
Hmm.
And I don't know. I believe in Bruno Ferreira. I think he's a good fighter.
I do too. Oh, okay, right here. Let me see. I have to get off my. All right here. So, wow, August.
Tapology, nice.
Yep.
Tapology is the
This
truth.
typology is the truth. This is where I get all of my stuff from. But as you can
Nice.
see from typology, right? Stoltz Foods had wow, he had a cancer fight against Roman Kopylov. I didn't know that. Um, I would have had Kopylov winning that fight, to be honest. I'm very high on Roman Kopylov. And then
This is Petrosian's profile.
this is Bruno Fajitas.
Oh, who did he lose? Who did he lose to last?
Uh Abu Smagomedov by a third round arm triangle or arm triangle choke.
Gosh, I
Oh,
barely remember that fight.
yeah, I don't either. That was on the Holloway in Taporia. Wow, really? I
Oh, it was in Abu Dhabi.
yeah, really? I don't remember that.
Yeah, man. I watched some of these fights. Some of them, like,
Yeah,
I'll
they're
go
like
back and
fun.
watch like the review I gave of it on my video. I'm like, I don't remember saying any of that.
Yeah, me too. There's been a couple ones where I'm like,
But
yeah.
the ones I do remember have something, special or unique about them. So
Mhm.
that means it's a when you watch every fight, I feel like the ones you remember are the really good ones.
Yep. Man, just killing it. ET. Elliot, I know that's you, man. Much love to you, man. I know I haven't talked to you in a while, but much love to you, bro. Hopefully we can get together soon. But back to this, man. Honestly, I have Bruno Ferreira winning this by either a dominant decision or possibly like a mid third round TKO because Armin Petrosian, I'm not sure if you see the way he fights. He is a tall and lengthy dude, but he's kind of slunched over. I'm not sure if you like see the way he fights, but in the what was it? In the Shara Bullet fight, two tall guys, and you kind of see how Shara Bullet looks taller than Armin Petrosian because he fights like this.
Oh, he's on his
He's very
shoulder.
like hunchbacked when he fights. And I think that if Bruno Ferreira goes in and he works that body and he's very technical with his wrestling, I promise you, I can really see this being a dominant win by Bruno Ferreira.
Yeah, I have my confidence is in Bruno as well.
Yeah, 100%,
And it's gonna
100%.
be it's gonna be tough to see. I mean, how does Petrosian come back from that vicious knockout too?
Right,
You
right,
know,
because he looked
he was
hmm,
iced out.
yes he was. He looked very confused on that floor.
Yeah.
He looked very confused on that floor. Um, one of my favorite guys here. For those who have seen my videos in the past, especially the flyweight one, I'm very, very high on this man right here.
Yeah.
Joshua Van. I absolutely love the way this kid is active in the flyweight division. I love how he fights. I this is my guy right here. This is my guy. I
Me
would
too.
love to meet Joshua Van in in just any scenario. I would love to bump into him one day at like a Shaw's and just be like, "Hey, how you doing?" This is the type of dude I want to meet.
Bump
At,
into him at a what?
at Shaw's. You know what Shaw's is?
No, we don't have those in California. What
Okay,
explain to me before we get to this breakdown, I need to know what a Shaw's is.
so Shaw's is a supermarket actually.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
So we have Shaw's, we have supermarket, Shaw's, Dave's, and like Stop and Shop. And do you guys have CVS over there?
Yeah, we have CVS. We
Okay.
have CVS.
Okay, I had to ask.
But Shaw's has not, gotten to this coast.
Man, okay. So yeah, so Shaw's is they're very good. I like Shaw's. I love Shaw's. They're very
Okay.
hey,
Maybe we'll get a
it's a whole
Shaw
nother conversation.
sponsorship on here in a couple months.
Oh yeah, I would love the Shaw's sponsor me and hire me, please.
Oh,
Hire me, please. I'm looking for another job.
job and sponsor. we hire our podcasters here at Shaw's.
Absolutely, please. Put an application, please look at it. Anyways, we have Joshua Van versus Ray Tatsuri. Do you know how to say his last name?
Saruya.
Saruya. Okay,
You
that's how you
started
say his
saying
name.
the other Japanese flyweight Tatsuro.
Yeah, Tatsuro Taira. I was like, ooh. Yeah.
I know the Japanese names are tough. Rei Saruya.
Yeah, Ray Saruya. What I've seen on this kid, I like him. I like the way he fights, and that's the thing about me. I do a lot of research, and I do a little bit too much for my good because then I start forgetting how these dudes fight because of how much like I've looked at it. And that water, huh? But yeah, what I've seen from I can't
Ray, just call him Ray.
Ray. I'ma just yeah, Ray. What I've seen from from Ray, um, I like the way he fights. One thing, one hole in his game that I see, he leaves his chin open a lot in those striking exchanges. He's very just throwing heavy.
Yeah,
And with a man like Joshua Van, that's not gonna play. That's not gonna play out the way you want it to.
yeah,
100%, I have Joshua Van by decision. I'm not gonna sit here and be like, oh, he's gonna submit him or oh, he's gonna TKO him because I mean there's a possibility, but um seeing the way Ray fights, I think this could I think Joshua Van should just close this out, make himself look good since he's number 15 in the flyweight division, and then go call out somebody in like that top uh in that top like 10. 100%.
yeah. He's right there. But I mean, this matchup's so surprising to me because they're putting together two of their young stars. Look, 22, 23. One's 12-2, one's 10-0.
Right.
Usually they don't do this. Usually they put the young gun against the old veteran, build up the young gun's name off the old veteran's back. But
Mhm.
I mean, they're putting this kind of reminds me of like a Cameron Simon versus Peyton Talbot style matchup
Yes.
where
Oh.
you got two guys that look to be promising,
Mhm.
but you put them together before they meet later down the line.
Right.
So I'm very surprised with this matchup, but whoever wins it, Van or Ray, look for them to get a huge push afterwards because I feel
Oh,
like
yeah.
they're like, all right, we got to choose one. Which guy is going to be our next prospect here?
In the flyweight
And
division, right?
yeah, and this fight's going to decide that.
Yeah, I think so too. But yeah, and honestly, I would give it to Van off of this one thing. Undefeated fighters in 2025 are like what 0 and 10, 0 and 11 right now.
Yeah, I think another one. Well, I see. I did a video on this subject when they were 0-10, and then I think another one. Danny Barlow has lost since. I know for sure.
Hmm.
So it's probably 0-11, maybe 0-12, 0-13, somewhere around there. Yeah, they're cursed this year.
Yeah, yes they are. Yes they are. Yes they are.
The
It's
O's are
crazy.
going.
The O's really are going. And I think there's another big name that I think is always gonna leave. Ilya Taporia.
Ooh.
We can get it.
Who's gonna take it from him?
Islam Makhachev is going to
Okay,
take it
yeah.
from.
That's a very sensible pick.
I think so. And I would love to pick your brain about that once we're done with this little segment here
Sure.
because I think 100% we we got some things to talk about.
Yeah, yeah.
Into the chat, here we my boy Quan. You said you was gonna come and support. I love you for that, bro. Thank you very much, Quan. That means a lot, man. That means a lot. That's one of my that's a good friend of mine. I've known him for a while. Played a game with him and everything. That's my guy right there. Juan, love you, bro. Tell Kamar and them to hop on this. Hmm. On to the main event of the prelims. Honestly, hmm. I I see your face. I don't know about this fight. I don't know about this fight. I give this to Curtis Blades because I don't trust this other dude. I'm not sure if you know too much about Kuniev, but Kuniev has been popped for steroids 3 times.
3 times. Wow. I heard he got popped. I didn't know it was 3 times. Wow.
Yep. He's been popped for steroids 3 times.
Repeat
And
offender.
exactly. And that's I mean, it is scary, you know, to know, but but somebody like Curtis Blades, let me see. What rank is Curtis Blades? I need to I need to see this. I need to see this. Oh, whoa,
Probably
hold on.
5, I'm guessing, somewhere around there.
Yeah. Oh, Joshua Van's not ranked anymore. Oh,
Yeah, flyweights is tough to get ranked these days. You got to go through the Shark Tank.
oh yeah, 100%. I like number 13 though. Tim Royev. I like him.
Temerov.
Oh yeah, Temirov, yeah.
Yeah, he beat Charles Johnson. Looked good.
Yes, he did. Yes, he did.
He
Let me see.
gassed out. He gassed out, but once he gets his cardio fixed, he's gonna be a problem.
Oh yeah, 100%. 100. I like that kid. He's an up and comer as well. Let me see. Number 5. So you're gonna give number 5. You're gonna give your number 5 guy to a repeat offender and just some random Dagestani just
Yeah,
that
yeah,
you just found. That's a little, I don't know, maybe that's just me, but that's a little like suspicious because if Kuniev does find a way to beat Curtis Blades, remember there's only 30 people in the heavyweight division.
yeah,
You know, I don't, and this is what's crazy to me because you still have people like that are on these losing streaks, and you cut somebody like Jairzinho Rosenstrike after losing one time, and I believe what he was, I think he was like 2-2 or like 3-1 in his last 4, and you
yeah,
guys cut him.
yeah,
You know, like it makes zero sense to me. But if Kuniev does find a way to win, that means that he's gonna be most likely the number 5 guy, or or they're probably just gonna throw him in the ranking somewhere and boot somebody else, like, I don't know, like a Kennedy, Nzechukwu or a Parkins out of the rankings,
yeah.
which just I don't know how I don't know how I feel about this. I really don't. It's weird. It's really, really weird.
I think the way to feel about it is I think the UFC really believes in this Rizvan Kuniev guy.
Mhm.
They think he could be really good. Um, I think he's managed by Ali Abdelaziz. I could be mistaken, but if he is, what I'm thinking is that Ali Abdelaziz put in a very good word for this guy, and they're giving him, a little bit of favoritism,
Mhm.
a good position against, one of the better, Curtis Blades. I think when it's all said and done, he needs to be included in that conversation of best fighters to never win undisputed gold,
Oh, yeah,
especially
100%.
especially at the heavyweight division because he's fought
100%.
everybody. He's beaten a lot of good names. He's just
Yep.
never been able to get over the hump.
Mhm.
So
Yeah, all them
yeah, I
title
think
eliminators. Yep, he's
yeah,
always kinda
lots
come
of title limiters. This Rizvan Kuniev guy, he kind of reminds me of like Ikram Aliskerov. Because you remember when Ikram Aliskerov was, I'm pretty sure wasn't even ranked when he fought Robert Whitaker.
right.
Yeah,
Yeah, because he stepped in. He was supposed to fight, oh, what's that Brazilian dude's name?
maybe Paulo Costa,
No, it wasn't Costa.
Muniz.
I
Whoever
it
it
was
is.
some, like, block-headed Brazilian that everybody knew he was gonna beat. It like, lem let me see,
Oh, in the middleweight division, a block-headed Brazilian.
let's
Well,
see.
Aliskerov was like linked to a lot of big names, and like he wasn't even ranked.
Yeah.
This just kind of reminds me of that. Like they
Mhm.
probably, because I haven't seen, to be honest with you, I haven't seen Kuniev fight. I've heard he's beaten Renan Fajeda, which is a pretty good outside UFC win.
Yeah.
But he was, on the sauce for that
Yes, he
performance.
was.
So steroids or not, I think the UFC really believes in this guy and
Mhm.
thinks he has a chance of shaking things up in a division that needs shaking things up.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't be surprised if Kuniev beats Blades.
Yeah, I honestly I wouldn't either with which is why I'm like I'm scared for it, but I mean they do what they gotta do. Oh, that's who was so Andre Muniz or
Yeah,
yeah,
his
Muniz
head
was the
is
one
shaped
that
like a block.
it
Yes.
is. I'm blockhead. Blockhead. But yeah, I honestly, I'm not even gonna give a prediction on this fight. I'm not.
Too many unknowns. Too many
Too many
unknowns.
unknowns. Too many unknowns about this fight here. For my man, Bedtime MMA. If you know who Bedtime MMA is, he loves Curtis Blades, and he he, he wants Curtis Blades to starch Kuniev. This Dagestani guy, as he calls
I've
him,
heard of
and
Bedtime MMA. I haven't watched his videos yet though. What's like his style? Is it like funny? Is it like low energy, high energy? Like what's his how would you describe his vibe?
very high energy, and his impressions are. He gives, you know, MMA Guru.
Oh yeah, I watch MMA Guru, so I'm very
Yeah,
familiar with him.
he gives Guru like a run for his money on his impressions.
Nice.
Bedtime, he doesn't. Shout out to Bedtime too. But he doesn't show his face in any of his videos. But he's a force. He's hilarious.
Okay,
Man,
cool,
I'd
cool.
I'm probably just like, yeah.
Maybe I'll add him to the rotation because there's like I only have space for like, 4 or 5 podcasts or personalities to listen to.
Mhm.
That's where I get like most of my not takes from, just well that's where I get to hear other takes from.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
maybe bedtime could be added to the mix because I've been hearing about him for years. I
Hmm.
definitely he just doesn't show up. He doesn't show up in my algorithm. Like when I scroll through YouTube, it's so weird. Like I feel like I've seen every single MMA creator there is scrolling through YouTube, but bedtime has not popped into my algorithm once, which
Hmm.
is surprising.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, he's kind of like I mean, he's a big channel, but like he's a smaller creator, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I
And
got
yeah, but if you want like a good laugh, I would say watch his videos.
you. Okay,
Um,
I like a good laugh.
yeah, he's hilarious with how he talks and everything about it. But let me see. Okay, main event. This main card, yeah. I like this main card, but I'm
Really
gonna
good
talk
card.
about this. It is. It really is. It really is. If anybody that watches UFC, if you sit here and you tell me and my man TeeBall Paul, and I'm looking at whoever's watching this video, if you're gonna sit here and tell us that this card right here is in one of the most stacked cards that we've seen in a little bit, you're crazy. Yeah, you are crazy
This
because this
one
is a
and the
really
next
good
one in
card.
Miami are really really
Oh,
stacked.
100%. The Diego Lopez one, right? And Volk.
Yeah, yeah,
Oh my
that one.
goodness. What a
These
card.
two are great.
Oh yeah. Um, but this canceled bout right here. This fight right here. This is for Justin Gaethje right now currently, this is a lose-lose situation. Why do I say that? If he would have fought Dan Hooker, which I think he would have beat Dan Hooker. I'm not gonna say that he was gonna TKO him or anything. I thought it was gonna be a definitive decision for Justin Gaethje. Now, beating somebody like Hooker, coming off of injuries and things like that, I think people would have probably thrown you know how just UFC fans are. Whenever somebody beats somebody, whether they're from a different whether from a different organization or they're from a different weight class or they're coming off of an injury, it's always like everybody's always trying to throw shade on a really good performance. And that's what I've seen with Islam a lot. With the two times that he's beat Volk and that second fight, yeah, it was short notice, but he did beat Volkanovski.
Yeah,
You can't take that away from him.
both times.
Both times. And what were people saying? Oh, he beat a 145er. He beat a featherweight. Oh, he's not fighting anybody in his division. And I think people would have thrown that at Gaethje because this is looking like if Gaethje's gonna beat Fiziev, okay? And Islam wants to fight Gaethje. He said it multiple times in the media. He's tweeted it. And if Gaethje does win, which I think he will, most likely we're gonna be seeing Islam versus Gaethje, and then most probably like Islam Taporia down the line. And I don't think Gaethje's beating Islam. You know,
I don't think so either.
it's kind of it's and see, he's 36 years old. This is his last. This is his last title run. He said that last. Was it last year? It might have been 2 years ago, which is crazy. But yeah, he said this is his last run to the belt, and this is it. We're gonna see Poirier out of here. Um, once they go back to Florida, Poirier's out of there. Gaethje's gonna be out of there soon. Um, Chandler's probably gonna be out of there soon. We really don't. Let me see. I mean, Dan Hooker's 35, and Dan Hooker's crazy. So I wouldn't be surprised if he continues to fight, but like,
Islam's 34 too.
Islam is wow,
You
that's
know,
true.
so he could not be long for this
Mm.
either. Yeah,
Wow,
lightweight's
you
gonna
bring
look
up
a
a
lot different
really good point, Paul.
in
That's
26.
true.
I think Islam's 30. He's either 33 or 34.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure he's 34.
Yeah, I think so. Wow, you bring up a really good point. That's true. Completely forgot Islam was like on the older side. Well, at least for a fighter, at least.
Yeah, for the
Um,
lightweight division.
yeah, for a a lightweight, yeah. Um,
But it's like
yeah.
when I saw Gaethje versus Hooker booked,
Mhm.
I wasn't thinking of it as like a high stakes fight. I was thinking of it like both of these guys are going to bring the action, and this is what it was booked for. It was booked more for entertainment purposes than for like standing in the division.
Mhm.
With that being said, a win would have meant a lot more for Hooker than Gaethje,
Right.
because like if Gaethje won, his stock would have raised like a little bit more than it was. But if
Mhm.
Hooker won, I feel like if Hooker beat Gaethje, I feel like his stock would have really have risen, because
Oh
no
yeah.
disrespect to Hooker, but he's never cracked into like the elite of lightweight. You know, he
Yeah.
fell short against Dustin Poirier. He fell
Right.
short against Islam Makhachev.
Mhm.
He fell short against like Michael Chandler.
Right.
So like
Edson Barbosa when he was in the featherweight division, like there's a lot of
yeah, if like
he's one of
If
those
Hooker
names.
would have beaten Gaethje, then like he would have been he would have been a good opponent for Makachev, even because they have a story.
Yeah. Yeah,
Like
100%.
Makachev beat Hooker in
Mhm.
Abu Dhabi a couple years ago, and then Hooker accused Makachev of taking IVs in Australia.
Of juice,
It was a
yeah.
whole thing.
I do
So that
remember that.
they could have. I really think Hooker like he had so much momentum, and he really he I don't want to say he blew it, because he could come back like this summer or something. But if there was ever a time for like Dan Hooker to just sneak into like really good standing in the division, it was beating Gaethje this Saturday, and it sucks that it's not going to happen.
Yeah. Yeah, it really does. And man, his hand looks gnarly. I don't know if you've seen that. But
I think I
Dan
saw a little like there was like a video with him and his daughter. He was waving his hand.
Oh yeah, there was that video, but he got the surgery and he shows us the cast and all you see is like a big red strip right here. Oh my, his hand looks horrible right
Wow,
now. So, it looks so bad.
jeez.
Um yeah, I don't even I would like show everybody, but I don't know if YouTube would be okay with me showing that. So
Yeah, well, I think you described it pretty well. We all know what a big swollen hand looks like.
yeah. So for those who are interested in that, you look up Dan Hooker on Instagram, or just look him up. Like you could probably look him up on Twitter, and they'll probably show you. But his hand looks gnarly right now. Man, oh man, this fight, this fight here, I'm a little suspect about this fight. Don't get me wrong, I love the fighting nerds. I love Mauricio Rufy. I don't know about the whole thing where he's like, oh, he's the next Connor. I don't know about that. I don't. I really don't. Is his style similar? Yes. He's good, but even in that fight with that last dude that he fought, he kind of like
James Yontop.
Yep.
That was kind of weird circumstances. Like he didn't look great, but I'm still giving him the benefit of the doubt because it was short notice for both.
Mm, mhm.
It was like a last minute replacement, catch
Yeah.
weight, all that jazz.
Mhm.
But the bottom line is we're gonna find out who Rufy is after this fight because
Yeah.
Bobby Green at 38 years old, he's still a super tough stylistic matchup for
Yes, he
anyone
is.
in the lightweight division. He can still bring it. Bobby Green's one of my favorite fighters to watch.
Yeah.
His
Yeah, I like
style is
Bobby Green.
no one fights like Bobby Green.
The hood style.
It's like Nate Diaz meets Anderson Silva. Like
Mhm.
he'll talk to you like a Diaz brother, and he'll style on you like Anderson Silva.
Yes, he will. Yeah,
He's just
that's the
he's
thing
such a
about him.
unique individual that I love everything about him, and I like that he's the gatekeeper these days because
Mhm.
if you want to be a charismatic, flashy striker, you're gonna have to get through the original charismatic, flashy striker of this division, Bobby Green. So it's if you beat Bobby Green, it's very well earned. It's
Yeah, it
it's
is.
you've earned your spot.
Yes, it is.
I mean,
Man, I
look at he gave Fazeev a tough. I thought he beat Rafael Fazeev a couple years ago.
yeah, I thought so. See, thank you. Thank you. Thank you, because I thought I was the only one who thought that. Honestly, when I was watching it back, I was like, okay, now I see why the judges gave it to Fazeev. But when you really like look at the like when you really watch the fight, Bobby Green he was putting hands on Fazeev.
Yeah,
He was piecing him up, and I mean, Fazeev was he was throwing more. I think he was landing. I don't remember like the specific stats, but I think Fazeev landed a little bit more than Bobby Green, and I think that's why they gave it to Fazeev. But yeah, that's when I really looked at Fazeev and I was like, yeah, you have cracks. You have cracks in what you're doing. Uh,
definitely.
but
So who you picking? With all that being said,
yeah.
with all that being said,
But all
who's
that
your
being
choice in
said,
this one?
man, I give it to Rufy. I still give it to Rufy. But I'm not gonna count out Bobby Green. If Bobby Green wins, I wouldn't be surprised, but I do give it to Rufy, and I think this will be a decision. I
Cool.
think I'll give it to him by a decision.
It'll be fun. It'll be a fun decision, though. I
Oh
think.
yeah, 100%. 100. Very, very good matchup there. Um, this fight here. um,
This fight
Lucindo
here.
and Lemos. Um,
Damn,
man,
Lucinda's only 23.
yes,
Jeez.
she is. And Lemos is 37. I didn't even know that. That in itself was crazy. I was like,
I mean, they look kind of similar in age. Lemos, still.
yeah, she looks really young for like how old she is.
Yeah.
I'd give it to Lucindo. Just
Okay.
like
Because the
I
age,
really don't.
probably.
Not just the age, but Lucindo's what I do like I don't really follow women's like MMA too much. Um
It's in a dark place right now. It's in a very
yeah,
dark
it is.
place, I have to say.
Yeah. But yeah, it's weird because actually this could potentially show us who's fighting Zhang Weili next, which is like crazy because they're not even. Let me see. I think Lucindo and
I feel like if Lucindo wins, but I mean, you went to the card that Zhang Weili beat up Amanda Lemos.
yes, I did. The 50-44s around the board, and I was like, "Ooh." Oh yeah, oh
So I don't
yeah.
know. I don't know if they can make a case to make that fight again.
Yeah, I
But
don't
if
think so either.
Lucindo wins, then that's a fresh face.
Right, and yep, yeah. So I'll give it to Lucindo probably by decision because that's always how it is.
Lucindo needs to win, or else the strawweight division is just like gonna be so stagnant.
Yeah, that and unless Zhang Weili's going up to fight Valentino, which I've heard a lot, and oh my goodness, I would love to see that fight.
Well, Valentina needs to get through Manon, and
Oh
Manon
yeah,
is
Fiat, yeah.
really good. So
Yep.
I could see Manon. You know, it's not a cakewalk by any means.
Yeah, no, no, by no means, yeah. That's true. That's true. You bring up a good point because that is true. I forgot that they're fighting.
Yeah,
Um,
she's really big and strong, and Valentina's
mhm.
getting older.
Yeah, she
But
is.
Turner versus Bahamondes. Oh,
This
love
fight
this one.
here. Oh my goodness. I if for those if any of y'all watched my video when I actually did break this down, dude, whoa. What a fight. Stylistically, oh my goodness, what a great fight. What an outstanding fight. What an outstanding fight. I like this fight. Not just because they're two tall dudes and they're just throwing hands at each other. No. I think, and I am very confident on this. I think Jalen Turner gets this done in
Okay,
the third round. I
okay.
think he does. Now, my heart does go out to Turner because I with the whole situation where he knocked out Bobby Green and I'm like he's said it multiple times in the media like oh like he's genuinely scared of fighting which is like there's really not much we can do about that but it I don't blame him like knocking somebody out like that like their kids are in the stands like it makes sense um
And
but as far
they were buddies too. They both come from the same area in Southern California.
right right yeah and I from what I heard from Turner in the press conference, he said that he is gonna come with more umph in this fight, and he's not gonna be as scared. And he's gonna bring it to Ignacio Bahamondes, and I believe him. I I really I believe him. I think he gets this done. I really do. What do you think? Because I wouldn't be surprised if Bahamondes wins either, but I'm interested on what you're feeling.
So I usually pick who I want to win. That's just kind of the way I like to fulfill my own, prophecies,
Mhm.
whatever.
Yeah.
So I want Ignacio Bahamondes to win just
Mhm.
because I really want to see lightweight turnover. And Jalen Turner's only 29. He's still very young. He's
Yeah.
like not that much older than Bahamondes, but he represents an older generation of lightweight because he's been in the top for so long.
Right.
Whereas Bahamondes represents a new generation, and I think right now, 2025, it's time for the new generation to come in. And I think it's really cool how Bahamondes represents Chile. I love seeing fighters from untapped markets come in and do their
Mhm.
thing and bring just new eyeballs and new flavors to the sport. So
Mhm.
Bahamondes, that they gave him this shot at the rankings because I think they see something in him. They think
Absolutely.
they could be a. He did very well at the press conference the other day. He
Yes, he
wasn't
did.
like he wasn't the funniest guy. He wasn't the most charismatic guy, but he definitely had an aura and a confidence about him
Yes,
that
he did.
I really liked. So you can kind of he's marketable. So
Yeah,
I
he is.
appreciate that.
And
I'm going with him.
just for the record, I love the impression you did of him. That was hilarious.
Oh,
That was that
yeah.
was a pretty spot on one. That right there, I was like, whoa. That yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
Um,
Chilean,
but
the
yeah,
little Chilean accent.
the Chilean accent, man. Yep.
Yeah, yeah.
um,
Maybe you'll see it. Maybe I'll break it out again one of these days. The bigger these fighters get, the more
uh-huh.
opportunities there is to impersonate them.
Right, right. Oh yeah. And I want everybody to comment that down below. We need to see more impressions from Mr. TeeBall Paul here. Very underrated impressions. We love
Well,
to see
see,
it.
I do them best when for the press conference video, like I'm
Mhm.
literally hearing them and then doing it, so it's like the
Yeah.
reference is right there. Like it would be
Mhm.
hard for me to do it now because I can't exactly recall what his voice sounds like, But
All
if I
right.
hear the voice and then maybe, like 10 minutes later do a video about it, like the voice
Mhm.
and the tone and everything is still fresh in my head.
Right.
So
Right.
I
Right.
like
Right.
doing the impersonations, like listening to it and then
Mhm.
immediately like, just repeating what I just heard. That's kind of like, if anyone, is trying to do impressions out there, that's a good tip. Keep the source material very close to you, or else you're gonna
Absolutely.
forget how it sounds like.
Absolutely. Um, but yeah, just to keep this short and sweet, because I don't want to I don't want to like hold everybody because we've been on this for a little bit. Um, but man, Justin Gaethje and Fiziev, this is a good fight. This is a good fight, but a difficult fight for Fiziev. This would be a completely different story if this was oh my goodness, my voice. Um, this would be a completely different story if this was a healthy Fiziev, and this wasn't a Fiziev who had just torn his ACL and is coming off of an almost 2-year layoff against the man that beat you the fight before you tore your ACL. I
Yeah,
see I see this going to another decision, but I don't think it's gonna I think it's gonna be the definitive decision. Like, we're gonna be like, yeah, we know Justin won this fight, unlike that first fight, because that first fight, honestly, I gave it to Fiziev. And I thought Fiziev did enough to win that fight against Gaethje.
same,
Um,
same.
right?
I thought Fiziev won.
Yeah, I thought so too. And I wasn't like upset with what they said and like giving it to Gaethje because honestly it could have went both ways, but watching it live, I was like, yeah, I think Fiziev did enough to for the judges to give him that fight. And they didn't, but it's neither here nor there. We know how these judges are in UFC and MMA in general. So, when you have Saudi
Yeah, it's
Amato
a
in your
it's a
corner.
tough job. I'd say, like I'm hard on the judges, but I'm not hard as some of these people are.
Yeah.
Like really ripping into them. It's like,
Mhm.
they're gonna make the referees and the judges that they have a really tough job. So,
Yes, they do.
I would what I would like is that there should be more interviews with the judges so they can explain themselves.
Mhm.
Because right now, so and so gives Gaethje a 10-9, and everyone goes, "How could you give him a 10-9? He lost that round, blah, blah, blah." But maybe if the judge would speak at the press conference after and explain himself, like, I gave Gaethje a 10-9 because I saw this, that, and the other thing, maybe
Mhm.
we would have a little bit more communication and discourse on the topic instead of just
Right. Instead of
outrage
it being so
across.
barbaric.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah. Barbaric is the right word. The MMA community, we can get pretty barbaric at
Yeah,
times,
we
but
we really can. I mean, like, the only time I justify like, us being barbaric is if it's like a Serial Gone versus Volkov fight, where we
that
have
one
Dana
pissed you
White literally
off.
being like, "Yo, you got screwed out of that fight." That's something I wanna burn bridges over. That's something
Yeah,
I'm like, "Yeah." But then, when you have fights like this, it's like, "All right, he won. Your dude won." Because I'm pretty
that's
sure
how I
after that
feel.
fight, like, didn't he go after that fight and knock out Poirier? Like, unfortunately, I love Poirier, but didn't he go and
I
knock out
know.
Poirier
I'm a
after
huge
that?
Poirier fan too. Yeah,
You know?
yeah. He looked great against Poirier. I
Yeah.
mean, the Fiziev versus Gaethje one wasn't the worst one I've ever seen. Gone versus Volkov was pretty bad. Still
Mhm.
not one of the worst ones I've seen. I mean, just off of memory, I remember like a really one that I thought was really sus, and I was a huge GSP fan growing up, but I don't know if you've seen GSP versus Johnny Hendricks.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
I was
yeah.
like, oh, how it's like,
Yeah, yeah.
gosh, of
That
course
that
they're
was
gonna give
bad.
it to the face
The
of the
big guy.
promotion at the time. That one
Yeah.
was pretty bad. Um, I'm trying to think if I remember Jones versus Reyes in the moment. I was like,
Mhm.
what the hell's going on? But then I watched it back. I did some videos on that specific fight and kind of
Mhm.
thought, okay. It's a really bad one
Which one?
is Gleison Tebow versus Habib.
Khabib.
That
Yes.
one is
Thank you.
awfully cooked for, overcooked, home cooking for Habib. I was like, what the
Yeah.
frick? That one
Yeah,
is a
that was
really
that one
bad
was
one.
bad. For me, it's between that one and this is kind of a throwback. Matt Hamill versus Michael Bisping.
Oh yeah, UFC 70 in England. I watched that on Spike TV when I was in middle school. I remember that.
And I know I
They
was
gave it to Bisbing.
they did, and I know I wasn't even thought of when that when that happened.
I don't think
But
you were. That was like 2006 or 7. So I don't think you were
yeah, so
alive.
I wasn't even I wasn't
That was early. That was early 2007 because that was UFC 70. That was the event before Rampage knocked out Liddell at UFC
oh.
71. So that was probably like April or March of 2007.
Also, I was born then. I was born in January, so yeah, I was
Oh, okay, yeah, okay, yeah.
like a
So
couple months
you were just
old.
like, even at 3 months old, you knew that was a robbery, right?
Yeah, of course, and you know, I hold myself very very strong on that because I like to go back and watch, and I like to know the history of the UFC.
Yeah.
I listen that casual. Ooh, just something about being called a casual when you know so much about the sports. Like, you know, um,
Yeah, yeah. It's. I hate it when people throw that the word casual, like, it means like 7 different things. It means you're an idiot. It means you're this. It means you're that. It means you're rude. Like, people will say casual for anything.
right, right, yeah, yeah, there's something about that. Um,
Just switching up my lighting here because it's getting dark. I was
I
using
got you.
natural light, but the it's getting dark here in SoCal.
Is it? Oh, okay. Man, really? What was it like? What time is it for you now?
It's
Like
6.
6? Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Sheesh.
it's starting to get a little.
Time is it
The
for me
sun's
now?
still out, but it's setting.
Oh, okay, okay. Man, that's cool. That's cool.
Yeah.
You guys are like behind and everything.
Yep. Different coasts.
Different coast. But onto this main event. This main event
Woo!
scares me. This is a outstanding main event here. A long-awaited main event, especially for Alex Pereira, and the fact that Magomed actually learned English in order to call you out after after fighting Rakic, after dominating Rakic and saying, "Alex, stop ducking me," is the that's top tier. This fight scares me. This fight scares me a lot. Fight scares me a lot. A lot. This fight scares me a lot. And the reason I say that, and maybe you know, Alex Pereira has not fought such a well-rounded, unorthodox fighter like Magomed Ankalaev. Magomed Ankalaev's striking, his grappling ability, his chin, he could take a couple shots, and don't get me wrong, like he can get caught. I think that left high kick from Pereira, I think will be able to catch Ankalaev. The only thing is Ankalaev being an unorthodox fighter, that left hand is going to catch Pereira in this fight. I'm not going to say it's going to finish Pereira. I don't think it is. But I think we're really going to see definitively that Alex Pereira is going to be in trouble in this fight. Not like Khalil Roundtree, like, oh, he got caught. Oh my god. No. I think Magomed Ankalaev, there's gonna be times where we're genuinely gonna be like, oh, I think Alex is gonna get finished in this fight. Like, there's gonna be a moment where Magomed is gonna have him on the ground, and that ground and pound is gonna look really scary. And it's either gonna be an early stoppage that everybody's gonna be pissed about, or it's gonna be like, yo, we just seen Pereira, like one of Pereira's biggest weaknesses, especially if Pereira wants to go up fighting Aspinall and throwing John Jones out there. Uh-uh. No, this fight holds a lot of weight for Pereira. It really does, and that's why I'm giving it to Magomed Ankalaev by decision.
Bro, everything you said, I agree with. There's a huge risk of exploitation here.
Absolutely.
You know, all the stuff that kind of all the matchmaking that Pereira's gotten over
Yep.
the last 3 or 4 years. There's never been like one where he was really at risk of just getting exposed.
Mhm.
It's like
Yeah.
Jan Blachowicz tested his wrestling a little bit. That
Yeah.
was just a lot of that was just a lot of moving and shaking around the fence.
Right.
But like we, but Ankala, but the thing that kind of gives me hope for Pereira here is because Magomed, he's more of a striker. He's a striker with good wrestling,
Right.
which is kind of what Jan Blachowicz is, a striker with good wrestling.
Hmm.
I think Magomed Ankalaev is just like a little bit better striker with a little bit better wrestling. So he's like
Hmm.
10% better than Jan Blachowicz.
Yeah, and he's faster. I think Magomed's
Yeah,
like way faster than Jan Blachowicz. Like he is like what
40
43.
something.
Yeah, he's like
Yeah.
40 something. But
I mean, Ankalaev is only 32.
yeah, yes, yeah, he's young, and honestly, the for a fighter, he's in his prime somewhat. You
Yeah.
know, like that. This is the prime position for him to definitively beat Alex Pereira. And probably get a like this is Pereira. Pereira is like one of the biggest faces of the UFC right now.
Oh, yeah.
And if he does lose this fight, they're 100% gonna give him like a rematch. Probably like
I think so,
in
sure. Yeah, yeah.
what is it?
Because
What is it now?
the
March?
company.
Yeah. Yeah, so what is it? It's March now. So if they give him a rematch, it would be maybe June, July, around it, maybe September around that time. If he would have like if he was to get one. Um, but yeah,
Let me
man,
put it
I
this
don't.
way, like this is the most invested in a Pereira fight I've ever been. This
Yeah, me
this
too.
one right here because
Me too.
there is a threat. I don't know if anyone else feels this way, but like UFC 300, I literally thought I was like Pereira, he's gonna smoke Jamal Hill.
Mhm,
Pereira's gonna smoke Khalil Roundtree. It ended up
mhm.
being a close fight, but he ended up
Yeah,
smoking him at the end.
right,
It's like Pereira's gonna Yuri has no defense. Pereira's gonna knock him out.
right.
When Pereira fought Adesanya,
Mhm.
he's colded him in kickboxing. Of course, he has a chance of beating him in the UFC
Yeah,
because Izzy kickboxes in the UFC. So Pereira will just beat him in a kickboxing match in the octagon. Like every
right,
single fight this guy's had, I've seen a clear path to victory for him and a
right,
very foggy path for the opponent.
right.
But for this one,
This is a clear
very,
road.
very clear path to victory for the opponents this time.
Absolutely.
And that's
Absolutely it
why
is.
that's why I'm really going to be invested in it. And then
Mhm.
you add on top of that Pereira is the most popular he's ever been. And if he does win this one, then we're going to see the biggest
Exactly.
we're going to see the biggest superstar since Conor McGregor, because I mean people that don't pay attention to MMA,
Mhm.
young, middle-aged, old, they're starting to pick up on Pereira. He's
Yeah,
he's
they are.
um he's one of the obviously he's one of the biggest stars in the sport, and I'm
Mhm.
a fan of the UFC, you're a fan of the UFC. We definitely feel that. But
Yeah,
I keep telling people, I'm like, there's another stratosphere that MMA fighters are capable of getting into. Chuck Liddell was there, Brock Lesnar was there, John Jones is there. I
yep,
think Pereira, if he just highlight real KOs, the big scary Russian monster,
yep. Big ink.
he can get more popular than he already is, which is crazy to say.
Yeah, that is 100%. Um, it's just man, that this fight holds so much weight,
Yeah,
especially for the light heavyweight division, and the heavyweight division, because
yeah,
you know Magomed wins, perfect. You got Hill that he could fight. You have people who he can fight that okay, yeah, we've seen in the title picture, but we have a fresh face as the champion, you know? So it's new strategies that people are thinking of. It's new, you know, like the gears are starting to turn for people who are fans of UFC and like that genuinely want to think about what's going to happen in a fight. Now with Pereira, there's no other way other than up. Just like you said, which I 100% agree with. It's true because he's already a star now. So yeah, he goes out there even if it's a decision. He beats his biggest task currently, right? So then of course we have different things that we're gonna think about. Drakus could move up. Alex could move up. I would rather Drakus move up and that be the fight instead of Alex get bum rushed by either John Jones or Tom Aspinall. But
Or Alex moving down is a possibility too. I wouldn't rule
right.
that one out completely.
Yeah,
That would
I
be
wouldn't either. I wouldn't either. Yeah, that's 100% true. But I hope he doesn't. I hope Alex doesn't because Drakus is a big middleweight. And I'd
yeah.
rather it be a big middleweight moving up to light heavyweight and staying big rather than a light heavyweight that's big and getting killed by a
Sucking
big middleweight.
himself down. Yeah.
Yeah. Um, but yeah, there's a lot to think about. There's a lot to think about, especially
Yeah.
on this fight
It's
here.
there's a threat. There's a threat here, and that's why this is one of my like I'm surprised this fight wasn't talked about last year as one of the
Oh,
most anticipated fights of 2025. Everyone was like, "Oh,
100%.
Ilya versus Islam,
Mhm.
John versus Tom, Hamzat versus DDP." I think this one sneaks in there as like a fight that the fans are really, really intrigued to see.
Yeah. All of us. All of us. So if you call yourself a fan, 100% you
Yeah,
want to watch this fight, you know?
yeah,
Um,
I love it.
I love it too, man. But I don't want to keep you for too long.
Okay,
You know,
I'm having
yeah,
having a nice time chopping it up.
yeah, it was perfect. If I have all the time in the world. If you want to continue, we can. But you know, I don't want to keep you for long either. You know, if you got things to
How
do,
about
then
give me one more topic that there was some stuff earlier you wanted to chat, you wanted to pick my brain on. Let's do choose one something that you would like to pick my brain on, and then we can call it after that.
all right, cool. Man, let's think. Let's think because there's a lot of things. There's a lot of things I could pick. Such a smart person like you, because you know your matchmaking and you know what you're talking about. And hmm, honestly, I keep it at the Ilya one. I'd keep it at the Ilya one.
Oh yeah, yeah, you mentioned something like that.
Ilya Taporia. I think that Ilya Taporia is mm, how can I word this? How can I word this? I think Ilya Taporia is going to be the death of himself. Ooh, why do I say that?
So you think he's biting off more than he can chew,
I think so. I
going
think that
to
I
lightweight?
think yes. Yes, a little bit. A little bit. I think that Ilya's gonna get to the top and then he's gonna crash because Ilya's very cocky. He's a very cocky fighter. And let me I'm not gonna throw shade because man, he's got some power on him. To sleep Volk and Max like that, man, that doesn't that's not pillow punching, you know? But I don't know. I like Ilya Taporia. Don't get me wrong. You know, I don't want anybody looking at this and being like, oh, you know, you're out here trashing on Ilya. No, not whatsoever. I love Ilya Taporia. I like the way he fights. His boxing is outstanding. It's just it brings. I swear, growing up on boxing and seeing the way he boxes brings a tear to my eye. How he fights, but it's just It's the little things, right? He drinks a good amount, right? Not like crazy, but and if you know, like if for people who don't know, like people who are in the chat, Ilia Topuria drinks wine a lot, and that's why he couldn't make weight. Is he a was he a big featherweight? Yes, but when you when you're guzzling down wine like that and you're getting cocky, all good things come to an end. All good things come to an end. And that's why I think that a man like Islam Makhachev is going to be that end all be all for somebody like Ilia Topuria. Um, I do see Ilia Topuria at some point in his career being lightweight champion. I do. Once Islam's out of there though. And it's crazy to think about because there's also a big factor that we have to look at as well because Ilya has fought at lightweight before. And even though it was against like Jai Herbert, Jai Herbert, I'm not gonna call him a jobber, but it's Jai Herbert, like you're not really facing too much of like a big task. Um, but man, it's crazy to think about because there's a possibility Ilya could beat Islam.
Yeah.
There's a possibility because with his grappling. I mean, I haven't really seen Ilya's grappling too much, and maybe that's just like a lack of me paying attention. But like the only times I've really seen him being grappling heavy was Bryce Mitchell and a little bit of Josh Emmett because he was mostly striking with Josh Emmett, but there was a couple times where he took him down and he was holding him down, you know.
Yeah.
Um, but just man, somebody like Islam. I, 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 I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. Julian, I see you, man. Thank you. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I really don't. These are all my people flooding in now. I love y'all. I'm gonna see
So
y'all later.
what do you want my take on the
Absolutely.
recent news of Ilya and what his
Absolutely.
future is and what I think about the whole situation?
Please. I want to pick your brain and I want you to pick my brain as well, please.
Okay, well, I guess the first thing is that personally,
Mhm.
I believe about 75% of Ilya's logic
Mhm.
behind moving up to lightweight.
Mhm.
The 25% that I don't believe is that he was too big for the division. Personally, I mean, the coach said he was 190. It said he had a hard time making featherweight. It's
Mhm.
like you, I'm stealing this off someone because I heard it on a podcast the other day, but it made perfect sense. It made perfect sense to me. You want to see a tough cut to featherweight? Go look at Conor McGregor versus Jose Aldo. His
Oh
face is
yeah.
sunken in.
Yep.
His skin's a different color. He's gray.
Mhm.
Like he looks like he's 70. It's like
That's
that
100%
is
true.
a tough weight cut because Conor is a wide shouldered 5'9", big, muscular guy draining
Mhm.
himself down. Ilya is very tiny. He's built like a fire hydrant. Doesn't have a long
Yeah.
reach. He, he,
Yeah,
he
yeah.
he doesn't have a big head. There's nothing about his features that are. He's not broad shouldered, and
Mm.
it's like he's 5'7" and he weighs 190 in the off season. Like
Yeah,
you're a football guy. That's like Darren Sproles, or like
yeah, yeah.
who's the guy that used to play for the Jacksonville Jaguars?
Um,
He was a running back that was like he had a hyphen in his last name. I forget, but
oh,
he was a running back.
yeah, I can't remember his name. I know who you're talking about. I know who you're talking about.
Not Jason Pierre-Paul because that's a defensive end, but it was a name like that. Blah 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 blah. But
Yeah. I think I know who you're talking about. I can't remember his name.
Like
I
if
just can't.
5'7", 190, like you would be able to, like, those people can't fit through doors. They're just like, "Arr!" they're
Yeah.
just absolute tanks, and like
Mhm.
I don't buy that with Ilya.
Yeah.
I think he just said that to, make people think, oh, maybe he really does need to move up to lightweight. Like he
Mhm.
can't make the weight anymore. It's like, you don't need to put that excuse in there. You
Yeah.
want to move up to lightweight because the bigger fights are there. You're chasing greatness.
Oh, this dude.
Let's leave it at that.
I'm sorry. Maurice Jones
Maurice
Drew?
Jones-Drew. Yeah.
Yeah. That's who it
What
was.
what are his
Thank you.
does it say like his height and weight around
Um,
there, or
Let me see. Because somebody, my sister commented to that actually.
okay, yeah, yeah, she knows
Let
football.
me see more. Maurice. Hold on. Who was it?
Yep, I remember Maurice Jones-Drew. Fun player to watch.
He looks like a tank. He got a thick neck. He's like, oh yeah. Let me see. He was five. Yeah, 5'7", 210.
Okay,
Whoa,
yeah, yeah.
whoa.
Like one night, like
That's a big old dude right there.
yeah, if you're 5'7", around 200 pounds, you're gonna look like an absolute unit.
Oh, wow, wow. That makes a lot more sense now.
So that I mean, who knows? I
Yeah.
haven't seen Ilya, in the off season, so I'm just
Uh,
eyeballing it. That's just what my gut's
yeah.
telling me. But but as far as if he could beat Islam or not,
Mhm.
I don't know. I just want to, how many people were giving Volk even a chance of giving Islam a tough fight?
Yeah.
People thought
Nobody.
people thought Volk was a lamb out to slaughter in
Hmm.
that first Islam fight. He
Yeah.
lost, but he did better than people expected.
And a lot of people thought he won the fight.
Yeah, a lot of people thought he won even, and I think the same thing's happening to Ilya again. People are like, "Oh, he's too small. He's gonna get his ass kicked." And it's like,
Hmm.
look, Volk is the same size as Ilya, and
Yeah.
look how well Volk did against uh, Makachev.
Yeah.
But the difference is Volk had far less power.
Hmm.
You
That's
know,
true.
Ilya, he can shut the lights off. So I think
Yes, you can.
Ilya definitely has a chance of beating Islam. He's
He
that good.
does, he does, and it's just that's the scary part because it's one thing to be small and have power, but then move up and kind of lose that power, and it's another thing to keep that power. Like Rumble, if you remember Rumble going from like welterweight to light heavyweight, and he got even more power. And if that's what we're seeing with Ilya, I'm scared.
Yeah.
I'm
Oh
really
yeah, yeah.
scared for
No, no.
Islam.
He will definitely have more power at 55.
Oh yeah, yeah.
That's just how. Will it translate? Will it be able to knock out 155ers?
Hmm.
I think so. I
I
mean,
think so.
Manny Pacquiao and Naoya Inoue, their
Oh
power
yeah.
carries through
Oh
multiple
yeah.
divisions.
Oh yeah.
So
Oh yeah. Ilya. Okay, actually, let me ask you this. Let me ask you this because
and
a lot
shout
of
out
things
shout
have
out to your
been.
sister in the chat for Maurice
Oh yeah,
Jones-Drew. that was
100%.
that was
Ilani, thank you,
yes,
thank you.
that
Even if
was clutch.
yeah, 100%.
That was my
Um,
childhood. I forgot. I had to pull that out of some
Maurice Jones
early
Drew.
Madden days.
Yep, man. Yeah, thank you, Ilani. Ilani, if you're watching this, thank you. I know Dad probably helped you, but thank you. No, I'm joking. But thank you, Ilani. Thank you, Dad. Thank you, Mom. But yeah, so that man, what was it? I'm sorry. I like had it and then I lost it. Oh, here we go. Okay. Lost my train of thought. um a couple and this is speculation and you know how speculations and things go in our community. But do you think Ilya Taporia, right? With you saying that you're kind of iffy about him moving up just because he couldn't make the weight. Do you think he might have been scared of somebody like Diego Lopez or Mosar Evloev or like maybe another fight with Volk? You know, do you think that he just decided to follow Max maybe for like a legacy, or do you think maybe he was ducking, you know?
No, I don't think he was scared of Mossar, Diego, Volk, Max. What I do think is that Islam versus Ilya, Islam low key is Islam, with the exception of Max Holloway, Islam
Uh,
is a bigger star than Volk, um, Diego, and Mossar.
yeah. Yeah,
And you could
that's
you could
true.
even make you could even make the argument he's a bigger star than Max if you he's not as beloved as Max, but
Mhm.
if you look at Instagram followers, he has more. If you look at the Muslim market, you look
Yeah.
at the Habib rub, it's like
Yeah.
Islam low key is a huge star for the company.
Mhm.
Ilya is right on the verge of being he's big, but Ilya is right on the verge of being a huge star. Like he just looks. I mean, it's just to me, it's just numbers and business. Like
Mhm.
Ilya versus Islam, if that gets booked, you know, I could just see like the ESPN MMA interviews of Islam and Ilya, whoosh, three
Oh,
hundred
yeah.
thousand views in 1 hour. Like
Oh,
I
yeah.
could just see like because that's kind of how I think as a content creator. I'm always looking at the numbers, like who's
Mhm.
doing this, who's doing that. Like I could just see like every part of that build up, every piece of content surrounding that fight.
Mhm.
It would just have such massive fan interest that it would just be a huge success
Oh,
for
yeah.
the fighters involved and the UFC. So I don't think he's to answer your question. I don't think he's scared of what's at featherweight.
Mhm.
He just sees an opportunity to have bigger fights at lightweight because the
Yeah.
bigger stars are at lightweight.
Yeah. Yeah, I could see that. That's valid. That's very valid. That's very valid. Because I was kinda thinking that, but, yeah, man, again, dude, you know you're one of my inspirations, so I had to ask, of
Thank you,
course.
appreciate that.
I had to, man. It's an honor to have you on the show. It's a pleasure to have everybody in the chat, showing you support and everything and showing me support. Um, but yeah, man, that makes a lot of sense. That makes a lot more sense because I was thinking it, but I didn't want to say it. And I think I should be more vocal on what I think because I think a lot of us content creators have very valid responses, and we look at things different than just the average fan. And I know that if all of us started talking a little bit more, and like this isn't in a shot towards like anybody, but like it's more towards like me. But man, if we talked a little bit more and we kind of started, you know, not really shooting blanks, but hitting targets a little bit with what we think about, I think a lot of us could find success in what we say. Because a lot of the stuff that some of these like smaller creators and like some of these bigger creators as well, but some of the things they say, it makes sense.
Yeah,
It makes a lot of sense. And then you go and you see UFC and they're talking about the same thing with John Anik, and John Anik has fighters on his show, and like things are coming up, and I'm like, "Oh, I heard about that last week from this creator." I'm like, "Ah," you know? Um, but yeah, man, it's just it opens up my eyes more,
yeah. It's
to
like the way I
hear it.
see it is like take ingredients from like different takes you hear, but
Mhm.
you want to start working on your own signature recipe, your own signature
Yeah,
dish.
absolutely.
So, like for example, if you completely disagree with what I said about Ilya not being afraid of 45, then that's great. That means you have a opposing take, and that's your unique, special sauce. So don't
Right.
be afraid to vocalize that. Always
Right,
speak what is
right.
true to you.
Mhm,
It's gonna happen. Like as content creators,
mhm.
we're gonna have identical opinions to other people. That's
Right.
gonna happen because some stuff is just so undebatable that you're gonna have to have the same opinion as A, B, C, and D other people. But if you could, I feel like some of my best work that I've done was when I had something that maybe wasn't being talked about as much, or was like a really contrary opinion to a lot of what was out there. And sometimes I find those videos do really well when you're passionate about something that
Yeah.
is unique to yourself. So don't ever be afraid to be vocal and talk about, give a take that may sound contrary to what the public is going for.
Yeah, absolutely. Great word of advice from Mr. Paul. Everybody in the chat, you heard it first from our show. Absolutely, Mr. Paul. Thank you very much. I'm not gonna hold you for too long either, because I know you probably want to like eat and do everything else.
All good, man. Yeah, I had a lot of fun. It was fun, breaking down the card,
Of
talking
course.
about one of the top fighters in the game,
Mm,
Ilya. And
yeah,
I don't do too many podcasts, so I love getting these podcast reps in, and it
of
helps
course.
me, develop my podcast voice, if you will.
Yeah. Of course, of course. And my supporters are nothing but supportive for you coming on the show. I've got a bunch of text messages from people, just family and everything, being like, good job, not only to me, but to you as well. A lot of people from my side are saying, good work on your part as well, but also from me. Starting out as a creator, in such a vast variety, especially for like MMA and everything. It's crazy and it's surreal to have somebody like yourself on this show. And it's an honor and it's a pleasure to have you on. You are always welcome. You can always let me know if you ever need anything. And I would love to have you on the show if you ever want to. If you ever just want to chop it up again, even if it's not on the show, we could always just talk. You know.
Yeah, just message me like you did, man, and then
Yeah,
we'll
of
we'll
course,
make it happen.
of course, of course. But yeah, man, I'm not gonna hold everybody in the chat for long either, because people on my side, it is 9:30 and I know a couple of y'all have bedtimes. Ilani. But yeah, man. So with that, everybody, this concludes the show. I thank all of y'all and for everybody who came in and supported this cause, said great things to Mr. Paul here, gave love and support to me. And I hope all of y'all can look at this and be like, I can do this too. You can do anything you want. You know, I didn't think I was a year. If you asked me about this a year ago, I didn't even think I'd be on here with Mr. TeeBall Paul, Mr. 70K on TikTok, Mr. 70K. Let's get him to 100K, matter of fact, and let's get him a little bit bigger on Instagram as well. I'm putting you all in here, Mr. Paul,
Thank you,
100%.
appreciate it, really appreciate it, man. Kind
But
words.
man, let's for good people. Mr. Paul is good people. For everybody in the chat, everybody that tuned in, and everybody that knows who I am, he's good people. Let's shoot him up into stardom. Let's not shoot the people
Same
that,
to you, Alex. I just met you about an hour ago, but
of
from
course,
the
of
looks of
course.
it, you're a fine gentleman.
Of course, man. You as well. We need more of us in this community, and not just the community, but out in the world as well. We need a lot
Yeah.
more people who are nice, nicer.
Yes,
You know,
yes. Where are all the nice
um,
people at?
but that's pretty much it, man. I again, I thank you so much for your time on this show. If you ever want to do another show, I can reach out to you. You can always reach out to me. My line is always here. Um, and again, for everybody in the chat, please, please, like, subscribe, comment, share. Go look at Mr. Paul's all of his socials. He's on TikTok. He's also on Instagram as well. Under TeeBall Paul, correct?
Correct.
Perfect. And I will put all of his stuff in the link of this video. And with that, I will see y'all very, very soon, man. I'll probably release another video most likely on Sunday or something. And for those who are coming over the house, we're gonna have a ball on Saturday watching the fight. But just a little spoiler. Just a little spoiler, you know. I'll probably be back Sunday giving y'all a little bit more content and everything. But yeah, man. I thank you. I thank you, man. It's a
Thanks for having me.
blessing.
Have a great night,
Thank you.
everyone.
Of course, of course. And everybody in the chat, stay blessed, man. I'm out.
Peace.